bootstrapping your lifestyle transformation business, saving money while you're trying to realize your vision, is kind of an ongoing thing. It's a mindset thing, and it's really about, I suppose, determining where you best put your value, where you best put your money, rather than thinking necessarily it's always about kind of scrimping and saving and not necessarily doing the things you want to do or living the way you want to live. It's actually just about making sure that you're getting the maximum value over time for the money you do spend. I'm getting accosted by a jungle insect. It wouldn't be the first time. So I'm going to go through a few points. I've made a few notes. But bootstrapping itself was, as a phrase, I think was originated from the idea of pulling yourself up over a fence with your bootstraps, with your own bootstraps, so a seemingly impossible task. And I guess that's the thing. Bootstrap your business, your and your life, until you really get going, is really about managing with the most minimal of things, money and resources, and only really relying on what you can, I suppose, beg, borrow and steal, they used to say, but of course we wouldn't do that. But we might pick up things that were left behind which people no longer want. So beg, borrow, steal, or beg, borrow, or exchange. Exchange is the key there, I think, and that's critical, and it's key to what goes on. I see it all the time. People are sharing their services so that they can learn, they can keep up to date, they can practice, but also so that they can get something in return. So there's an exchange of value. You might end up meeting a web designer on your travels, and you can sort out part of that problem by giving them some body work or a coaching session. So I mean, those things are pretty standard. I mean, especially when you're in a community that likes and is open to doing that kind of thing. It may be different in the cities, but maybe not. I think if you can forge and create a community online or offline, you're going to have a chance to connect at the level you want and exchange like that, and just offer each other support. Part of the reason why I've set up the Next Steps Connective weekly meeting here in Copenhagen in Tri-Bay, because there's kind of a lack of a more formal environment for people to talk about their businesses, rather than feeling like they're always sort of bending someone's ear. They can get together and talk about it together in a forum which is structured to do that, with some help from other people who've got experience and have lived through the same problems. So that's part of bootstrapping, is forming a community which helps and supports you, and you help and support that in return. So that's the exchange side of things. I mean, and you might have better, bigger ideas about what that could be, but I call it an energy exchange, and that's kind of what's happening between clients and people anyway. So it's no different for it to be not necessarily about money, but about resources to allow you to build your business and build your lifestyle the way you want it. In my Finance Made Easy course and book, I talk about minimum viable lifestyle, MVL, and that's your kind of baseline budget expenditure. And obviously that might be different for different places in different parts of the world, because things cost different amounts different places. May incorporate your travel if you're more nomadic. And then I kind of look at it as there's a fully featured lifestyle that you can bolt onto that if things are going according to plan. But you've always got a kind of baseline that you can revert back to. And living a bootstrapping type of mindset lifestyle helps you move between those two more efficiently and more effectively. Because at the end, when we're trying to make our businesses and build them and get them somewhere new to a different level, it's always about making sure you can minimize your costs and increase the amount of revenue you can get. And revenue is effectively just a synonym for value exchange. You get paid for the value you deliver, and that value is perceived at that level by the people, the clients and the people you're exchanging with. Not necessarily by you. You can adjust it and tweak it and kind of try and enhance it, adding things, taking things away, making things a little bit more exclusive or more luxurious, for instance, but only if people want that and are called to it. So bootstrapping is inherent, actually. Like, it sounds like it's something you do only if you need to, but I think it's a mindset that kind of permeates everything you do. It's been efficient, and I actually think it's got bigger picture implications, because if you look at the world as it is right now, the resource depletion, Mother Earth is being raped for its resources, the animals are being used and abused in perpetuity without any real significant change yet. And we've all got to change our habits, whether we like it or not. It'll be forced upon us before we know it, no doubt. So we got to live a more minimal mindset, and that starts with a sort of bootstrapping mode of living. What would you rather spend? Save up for, or postpone and save up and enjoy a really, I suppose that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the things I would want. That new powerful computer to be able to do more creative work, or that I live in paradise. Why do I want to? Or I stay most of my time in paradise. Why do I want to go off on an expensive holiday? I don't, because I don't value them. At the same time, I just value a few things. I've simplified my life since living in the cave, so that I can easily adjust. Fasting and health. For health reasons or for lifestyle reasons is a way of bootstrapping, but actually there are more benefits than just saving money, of course, because you're helping the planet, and you're helping your own relationship with food and drink, let's call it. So you're adjusting the parameters within which you live. You're making yourself more in control of what you can live by and do. So fasting's bootstrapping. I've got different ways I'm doing that at the moment, which are working. They're fine. I'm probably on at least maybe 1-2 meals a day maximum. Sometimes only one. Sometimes none, and it's fine. We do various work. Sometimes physically, emotionally, we need more. But for me, I think I've kind of arrived at the point is, if I'm going to eat food and spend money on food at the moment, I'd really love to be doing it with people and enjoying the company and the social aspect. So that's kind of one of plays into my 3 C's, I suppose: connections and content. The rich content of my life being spending my money where I'm going to get the most value and connection and content of experience. Is where I'm at, where I'm going. So another thing is thinking longer term. Playing into the environment is thinking longer term. We've got to. We never did. We just kept using and abusing. Now we've got a chance to actually think and be very much more conscious about what we're doing and where we're spending our money, what resources we're using in our life, business, the world, the planet, everything. So we can think longer term, and it comes down to the most simple of things, like if you know you're going to be using a piece of software, or you're going to be using a particular service for a long time, it's part of your workflow, then pay for it annually. Don't do the monthly non-commitment. Actually commit, and you'll save 20-30% on these things, which it means your money is better spent, lasting longer, gives you a bigger runway to get where you need to get and want to get with your business. So there is unlimited service. I mean, I speak a lot of online stuff. Most, and if not all, of my work is done online, and it's as much as it's got to be, and is becoming more of an in-person business for me. That whole thing about connections and clients and meeting them, my 3 C's for this quarter. I've got to think longer term and think about how I, if you like, last as long as I can in this environment. I don't want a year. I want 2 years. I want 3 years, without having to rely on doing things that I don't necessarily want or need to do, that won't directly support my core work, my real work of my business. So I think longer term, and bootstrapping allows you to do that, because you're not as rushed. You're not rushing to keep up with your system. Let's call it the system level spending. So that's the one thing. The other, ditch your subscriptions as far as you can. You know, I had a business before, and actually this subscription, I was the culprit in some respects. I had all these subscriptions running that would save and solve this problem and that problem, and keep this stored and looked after. But actually, I you know, I was subscription obese. I've heard that, you know, so it was hundreds and hundreds of pounds, these things. And that goes into things like account packages, task manager type applications, obviously like data storage, like cloud backup, you know, music subscriptions, video subscriptions, Netflixes and all that kind of thing, mobile phones. The list is bigger than you think. And even though when I arrived here after I left my businesses and I was kind of having to bootstrap, I had no income. I didn't bootstrap enough, actually, in the scheme of things. I was still spending relatively heavily, and I still maintained some of these subscriptions, which were, I thought, no, I need them, I've got to keep hold of them. But actually they weren't serving me anymore. So I spent some time and I moved over to free services or ditched them completely, and saved about £300. It's about $400-500 a month with extensive, you know, going into it and finding out whether I really needed things and changing the way I do things and work. So that was a big help. And also it was less to worry about, less to use, less to think. It was a bit like cleaning out your closet, or everything, getting rid of everything out of your garage and eBaying it, which I've done, of course, as well. That's part of the process. But like I said, it's a mindset. It's a money mindset. And I was thinking about this, and my thought is, it's dead easy, or really easy to keep a track in some ways of those bigger expenses, like, oh, I bought a computer, a mobile phone, or I've got to book the Charlotte for my next workshop or retreat. And these are big, and they kind of stick in your mind. You can make a note of them. But our personal expenditure is something which just can be runaway. You know, where you think you're spending $15, $20 a day, you're actually spending 30 or 40, which is 100% more. Which means you've got half the time to do the things you want to do and need to do. Or it's just that you've spent it on things which really weren't worthwhile and you didn't really need them. But only you can know it by going in and finding out if there's some other reason, doing some inner work about why you're doing it in the first place. So it's a question of priorities. You know, what's more important to you in this medium to long term? Doing what you want, having the freedoms and the creative benefits of having a lifestyle transformation business, or doing what you want when you want immediately because you've got a habit, you've got an emotional requirement which hasn't been looked into and resolved, and because you don't know what you're spending for your business or your life, because they're the that's the data, the information which informs you of what you're doing. And gives you a analysis, a roadmap of what your habits are and the things you can change or want to change. Most importantly, it's about what you want to do. If you want to live in a life which is you're rushing around trying to scrape together some money, or you want to have the freedoms where you're under no pressure to do anything you don't want to do, you've already achieved a level of freedom. So, but money is the mindset. Bootstrapping is the kind of foundation as a mindset and a behavioral way of being. And yeah, you know, you assess the value you're going to get from the money you've spent, because every amount of money normally for most people has come from the value you've exchanged, and that involves your hard work. That involves the 20 years you've been building your expertise and knowledge, and you're transferring to somebody, you know, uniquely and specifically to their needs and requirements, for example. So you've worked hard for that, and yet you can let yourself, without watching, go and blow it on things which don't really give you that value in return. So I don't know, I'm just suggesting maybe you think about it. Everybody's different, everybody's got their own needs, everybody can be perfectly happy with how they are, but if you're not getting where you want to go, bootstrapping is a way to change that. And particularly, say, if you're going to launch a new product or service, instead of overreaching and spending a lot more money from savings or profits overly in that, rather than using too much of it, maybe you also cut back in certain areas so you can channel those resources into this new thing while you're testing it, while you're trialing it. That's one thing. And remember, you're an integral part, like I was just talking about, the value that you've accrued for so long, or are accruing as you build and grow if you're a newbie. You're an integral part to the business. You're the main cost. You're the sole employee. You're the main freelancer. You are the business manager of your life and business. You are the cost, which is probably the most runaway. You wouldn't have a freelancer or a member of staff and say, yeah, do what you want, and I'll pay you whatever, and not keep a track on it, or would you? So, but the same thing is, you're kind of doing the same with yourself sometimes, if we let ourselves. So it's asking to think of it a little bit more like, well, I'm an employee of my business. I can get a salary, I can get a fee, and I talk about those things in Finance Made Easy, about how to differentiate the two and organize them in your mind and on paper or on your computer. Those are the costs that need the most control, is you. It has to start with you. Just like any, we form our own reality. If you can't control your costs, your business won't control its costs, other people around you won't control theirs, you'll struggle to get where you need and want to go. So you are integral, and you have to monitor yourself as well. And there are ways of doing that, or learning to do that. And these are I've just riffed here a little bit on some of the ones I already wrote down about realizing your vision. Remember, that's what you're doing. If you've got a goal, whether it's 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, or just an overall life vision, then this is the foundational level. Bootstrapping, understanding finance and money, appropriate to where you are. You can go around and learn loads of new marketing and branding techniques to try and get more clients, and that's kind of great. But if you've got problems in the foundational aspects of your life and business, particularly around money and finance, they will just amplify when you get more clients, because you'll end up spending more money trying to maintain them, trying to get them. Your lifestyle costs will rise because your expectations and rewards will get higher, and you'll constantly be chasing your tail. So get the foundations right. Start bootstrapping. Start understanding and tracking your money and finance, and start owning how you relate with money, and in particular with your lifestyle transformation business. And I've got the blog post here. I'm building a guide, Get Bootstrapping, for your lifestyle transformation business. If you've got any comments, if you'd like to contribute, put some notes in there below, share it, do all those nice things, kiss and cuddle it, and come along to the next connective if you're in town. Let me know what you think.